We go. So, reiterate what I said before we start. Well, when we started beforehand and it didn't work. Some people think that our episodes should be shorter,
Yes.
and it should be from 20 minutes to 30 minutes. I mean, 30 minutes to 20 minutes, which would make it a lot easier to watch.
Yeah, I think kind of strange. I think it's just a weird thing. I do it when I look at a video and it's 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, it's only 20 minutes. But when it's like 30 minutes, I'm like, oh, half an hour.
Fuck that.
It's literally only 10
It's
minutes.
literally only 10 minutes difference.
But I am a feeble human being.
Yeah, I am fickle, and that 10 minutes makes a difference. Just imagine all the things that we could do. To be fair, though, you could watch two 30-minute videos or three 20-minute videos.
True. That's an extra episode.
If you're gonna...
Toby!
Oh, for fuck's sake!
So the latch on my door doesn't work. So that means not only can all of my family members barge in, but also can both of my dogs.
So 10 out of 10 recording's easy now.
10. Zero privacy whilst recording.
I'm gonna say if anything else can go wrong during this now, well, I'm leaving that in. I'm leaving your stepmom screaming at your dog.
I've never seen him look so confused in his life. I don't know what his problem was. He came running in, she told him to go to bed. He just started cowering on my bed. No, not your bed. Not my bed, your bed.
But where is my bed? Who am I?
He likes my bed too much.
Everybody likes your bed too much, Jake.
Yeah, man, it's too soft.
It's too.
He can get in whenever he wants, so
yeah.
if he's not locked away in his bed, you can guarantee he'll be snuggled up on mine.
Gonna say you've been having trouble with them coming into your room, haven't you?
Yeah, for the past 3 nights, George just slept in my room.
Yeah.
This morning he woke me up at, I think it was 6 o'clock by rolling around.
Oh.
You know when a dog starts to get really playful?
It gets restless, doesn't it?
You start getting restless. He was just rolling around at the perimeter of my room.
You must force him to commit Sudoku.
So yeah, before I got disconnected from Discord, I was saying that I've noticed this quirky character on the drive home from work.
Right.
Okay, do you remember that Good Charlotte video?
Girls don't like boys.
Yeah, that's the video where it's all those old people.
Yeah, and they're all doing like scene kid shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that.
What is it, like an 80-year-old man?
On my walk home, there's this woman, and she's got to be in her 60s at least, and she looks like she's endorsed by Hot Topic.
Does she have the emo fringe and all of that?
She's got like imagine an emo fringe on a 60-year-old woman.
My God.
It's the closest thing you can get to a 60-year-old emo fringe.
Science has gone too far.
And I think it's dyed it's like white hair dyed reddish, so it looks kind of ginger, if you know what I mean.
Has she got an emo perm?
Kind of, yeah. The emo perm.
The emo perm sounds like something out of Mighty Boosh.
It does.
Fucking Jesus Christ. How horrific.
Yeah, man. She's riding a bike today. I think she's wearing a Drop Dead t-shirt. I was like,
oh my God. Like, more power to her for doing it, but it's just not... You know what, though? That'll be us in, like, 40 years.
Yeah, that will be, yeah.
All of our friends groups still wearing band merch, listening to deathcore and pop punk and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Apart from, I guarantee at least, like, 4 of us will be dead.
Oh, yeah. I will not be surprised if...
Oh, yeah. For example, already been mentioned on this video, well, these videos or podcasts or whatever you want to call them, Mugridge.
Mugridge will die.
Mugridge will die.
Shortly, I imagine.
I was thinking, pretty close. I would say him making it to 30 is going to be a miracle. God, the blood god will have blessed him.
That's a good run for
Mugridge.
for how Mugridge treats his body. 30 would be a good run.
It's almost like a plaything. We have another friend who I doubt will make it very far into life.
Oh yeah.
The drug one.
The drug friend.
The drug friend. The drug
The drug.
friend. We have a friend who consumes copious amounts of drugs. Almost like the beginning of what movie was it?
Wolf of Wall Street.
Almost like the beginning of Wolf of Wall Street, where he's like got eight different drugs and like it's a cocktail of drugs.
It takes different drugs to combat the downs of other drugs.
And then has more drugs to make taking those drugs like to have less of an impact than like Christ.
Just take less drugs.
Just take less drugs. That's that's a good advice. Or
take less drugs, kids. Take drugs, just don't take much.
I was gonna say don't do drugs, but if you're gonna endorse drugs, then
I think our non-existent audience knows what this show's about.
I would highly recommend trying stuff, but I do know too many people that were just like, oh, but mate, I'm only trying it. I'm not gonna do it a lot, and then they become like an MD addict and fucking. There was one guy that I met in second year, right? I met him in a club, and he was a friend of a friend. And I was talking to him, and he was like, "Oh, tonight's the first night I've done MD." Like, I was like, "Oh, sweet," talking to him about it, because I don't mind when it's someone's first time, but if you do drugs all the time and then just talk about drugs all the time, like, shut the fuck up, Jesus Christ. Fast forward to this year, I talk about him to my friend, and apparently, like, oh, he's never not on MD, and like he's going to lectures on MD and won't go on a night out without MD, and I'm like, he was just supposed to be experimenting the first time, and now it's become like a morning coffee, the sniff of MD to go with your dinner, and like
quick bomb
quick bomb just to put me at, like, take the edge off. To be honest, if I had an edge, I wouldn't be taking MD.
No, that is it. No,
that gives you an edge.
Yeah,
that's not a good thing.
It's I guess there probably are people that convince themselves that it takes the edge off, but I imagine it gives you even more refined edge.
A refined edge.
A refined edge. It just sharpens your edge for
beyond Shadow the Hedgehog.
The hedgehog.
The hedgehog. The super edge.
The super edge.
Yeah. So I've also got another character that I can tell you about. Running Kid.
Running Kid.
Running Kid.
Tell me about Running Kid.
Well, it's pretty simple, really. But Running Kid, like where I live, there's a shop close by, right? So one time when I was going to the shop, there's the corner shop and there's the Sainsbury's, and I'd walked to the Sainsbury's. I'd got some milk and shit, you know the gig, just emergency bread and milk. And this kid came barreling down the street, and I'm talking like full pelt running, not just a little bit, as in this kid's like his mum's dying, or fucking something's gone wrong with his dog's leg, or whatever. Like he's way serious about it. And then as he's cornering into Sainsbury's, as it turned out he was going to the shop, he kicked himself in the back of the legs and went arse over tit, like flying. This kid was like, imagine fucking Usain Bolt. He was fully going at full speed and hit the deck like a sack of shit. It was unreal how hard he hit the floor. It was a real wipeout. Yeah. So like, I was sort of stood across the road from him, sort of laughing quite a lot. And he got himself up, and he tore a hole in his jeans, and he just sort of looked a bit embarrassed and went into Sainsbury's, and I went about my day. Two weeks later, I'm having a cig outside my house, and this kid comes flying up the street. Like, I weren't paying attention, and he just come barreling down the street. This time he didn't fall over, right? But I just couldn't believe it that this kid is either go or stop. He's a switch. He either runs or he's stood still.
So he's the human version of my dog.
Yeah. He's the human version of your dog, who is like tiny and just has cheetah's energy reserves.
He just has, he is like half cheetah, half terrier.
Yeah, it's crazy. And right, it doesn't end there.
Insane.
I was going to uni a week later, and he was sprinting to uni, like the whole way. I was walking down the street, and God knows how far he'd ran, but he ran past me, and then carried on running, and I saw him run into the university.
Quick question though.
Yeah.
Did he have toast in his mouth?
I've got somewhere to be, Babaka.
And so I'm late for school.
What was that show where it starts off and like one of them's running with toast and then the other person's Daily Lives of High School Boys.
Yeah, he's running.
Yeah.
He's
got like a plate of curry instead. He's like, real men eat curry when they're in a hurry.
That's a good show.
Yeah, I highly recommend Daily Lives of High School just for the first episode, even if it's not, even if you don't watch any more.
Which is the episode where they all try on skirts?
That's the first episode.
Not the first episode, best episode.
Yeah, where they all try on his sister's skirt, and then they tell one of them that he looks pretty, and he gets embarrassed. So they start taking photos of him.
Yeah, because there's the three of them, and like the first two try it on and then take it off and like come out.
Yeah, and he's like,
he leaves it on and comes out from the. They go behind the curtains, don't they?
Yeah.
They try it on and then take it back off, and he leaves it on and comes out.
I thought you was gonna leave it on. Yeah, that was fucking good. If we're doing anime recommendations, might as well start now.
Yeah, may as well. No time like the present.
No time like the present. What have I been watching recently that I liked? JoJo.
JoJo. Yeah, we just started JoJo.
Me and you just started watching JoJo when you come down to mine the other day. JoJo is insane. It is alright. I know most people seem to think that anime is weird from the get-go because they've only seen like tentacle porn or fucking, I don't know, one of the more popular ones that's weird, like Nichijou or something. Yeah. But JoJo is literally fucking insane. As in, it makes no sense. It moves incredibly fast. The pacing is all over the place. The superpowers make very little sense. The events in the story make very little sense. But it's amazing and incredibly well animated.
And the soundtrack is god tier.
The soundtrack is god tier. The soundtrack is like 10 out of 10 sort of symphonic metal.
Like power ballads.
Yeah, like power ballad. As you've got really tall, muscly men like just beating the shit out of each other, fighting vampires and being rich and getting abused by their dad and burning dogs alive. Oh my god!
Wow. I have an item called the Blizzard Chizzard Gizzard.
Yeah, they're those weird white birds that you get in the frost biome.
Yeah, frost biome.
Yeah, there is, for example, one scene in JoJo. They're in a tunnel, and there's a vampire in there. And when they're in a carriage, there's a horse and carriage, and they're going through a tunnel. And all of a sudden, the horse and carriage stops. There we have a man called... What's his name? Zappelli. Right? Zappelli.
Byron Zappelli.
Byron Zappelli. A man who dislocates his shoulder so he can punch further. Right? So Byron Zappelli gets out, and the horses have been beheaded, and they're just filled... They've been stuck with knives, like lots and lots of knives. So he tells them to get away from the horse and carriage to try and find where the vampire is, and he comes out from the horse's neck. He'd been hiding
cleverly hidden himself
clever
inside of a horse.
Yeah, in a horse. And then, as a challenge for JoJo, he pours him a glass of wine and says, "You have to beat the vampire without spilling any wine, and if you do, I'm not training you."
Yeah. And why you ask? Because the North Wind made the Vikings.
Oh yeah! What did that even mean?
It went on to explain towards the very end of the episode, after that verse being halfway in. It said it was like challenge creates opportunity or something like that.
Right.
Or yeah, like adversity creates, like growth, character growth.
So them sailing the North Seas created the Vikings.
Yeah,
I
and fighting
see.
vampires while drinking wine makes you stronger.
Adversity makes you stronger. It's a good lesson to give, but I don't think that's the best way to give it.
No, I don't think it's somebody's first sort of real fight, real combat training using a power that they've just grown accustomed to, or barely grown accustomed to. It's like, here's a glass of wine, don't spill a drop.
If I was gonna, if I joined a martial arts club, right, and I was nervous, and you said to me, just as I was about to get in the ring, remember, the North Winds created the Vikings,
I would be so confused.
I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I'd get knocked out because I'd be too busy thinking about what you meant.
Viking, like, what the fuck is he on about?
What is he
About
fucking on about? What does he mean the North Winds created the Vikings? The man's a lunatic, and then I get smacked in the face because I've just been stood in a corner.
Paralyzed through confusion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bewilderment, even.
Yeah. Like what? Why?
What did he mean?
What did he mean?
Like, use Vikings as motivation, sure, but don't come out with some strange analogy. Like, say, if you don't win this fight, you won't get into Valhalla. That's motivation enough, you know.
Yeah, it is.
When I die, I want to like eat and drink and
Drink with the gods.
fight zombies when I die.
Is that what they do in Valhalla?
That's what they do in Valhalla. Yeah,
Valhalla sounds pretty cool.
it's a mead hall where they all celebrate, and because they're all heroes, and they all fight and drink, or they all eat and drink, and then they spar because they're getting ready for the end of the world. Like when the end of the world occurs and the dead rise from their graves, it's the member, like say everybody in Valhalla is sent down to fight them all.
Oh, how about that shit?
So yeah.
So you to get into Valhalla, you're basically helping them create an army.
Yeah, you have to die a hero, and then you're basically waiting in heaven to return to the earth to fight the undead.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, man.
Although I'm useless at fighting, really.
Yeah, true.
Like I have fought before.
But if you're already dead, like the point of Valhalla is like you've got an eternity to practice. So
Yeah, very true. Unless you get there, and the next day the dead rise, and you're like, what? What?
this is my first day.
This is my first. Like, talk
You're
about.
halfway down your first like horn of mead, and like, all right, guys, it's time to go.
This is bullshit. I've only been dead a day.
I'm fighting again now. I'm probably gonna die again.
I just died yesterday. Give me a fucking break.
I'm still bleeding, for Christ's sake.
What is the point?
I mean, Odin's sake.
For this is Loki's doing.
I think it's Dio who's responsible for this.
Dio. Dio is once again referencing JoJo, the villain. Possibly the worst villain in all of mankind. In anything that I've ever watched, Dio is by far the worst.
I mean, by he's the worst villain, as in he's the most evil person, or just he's a crappy.
He's a shit villain. Really, like he's poorly written. His motivation is non-existent.
His motivation is purely like he didn't like JoJo because he was rich, and then he became his brother, so he decided he was going to be an arsehole to him, and then he became a vampire, so he decided he was going to be more of an arsehole to him,
and then somehow became immortal.
And then he was going to be a prick to his entire like family bloodline.
Is there multiple Dios throughout the series?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't opened my mind's eye enough to perceive JoJo.
To comprehend the wonder that is JoJo.